when we get to deep states of meditation where the mind is more clear and quiet and spacious, and we're coming from that deep sense of peace, we are detaching ourselves from that human conditioning, from those human fears, from those human triggers. That is why the more that you can do things in your daily life that is going to put you in a state of calm and peace and even love and joy, right? How to keep calm and strong in the middle of chaos and in the middle of, some, in many ways, horrendous things that are happening in the world. Now, one of the things that pulls us out of our peace, our calm, and even our spiritual connection is fear, is trauma, is things that stimulate a lot of our, negative emotions or survival instincts, the things that really pushes into that survival response or even trauma response. But the reality is, at the moment, no matter if we like it or not, this is part of a spiritual awakening for humanity. And it's, in many ways, a powerful time in the aspect that people are starting to see more clearly, are starting to understand that the narratives that they have been told by certain powers or certain people in certain positions is not always the whole fact. And people are starting to recognise that they're being distracted constantly by narratives that actually are there to distract people from truth, from the layers of what is going on underneath. And the problem is that we all have our own views and things. We all have our own perceptions. We all have our own stories. And we've all seen, different things in our life. We've all had different experiences, and we have different belief systems. And that's why there is so much, chaos and confliction and, in many ways, separation. But when you can get into a state of more calm, peace and stillness, you start to become more objective. Now, that doesn't mean that you completely, we're, how could you say, we're constantly evolving, we're constantly, as you start to access more peace and stillness, there's layers to things. But the reality is, I think people are starting to realise how much they have been exploited and manipulated and psychologically manipulated by that aspect, that energy of the dark magician. And I do have a video on this, and that may help you understand this. Now, the dark magician archetype is very much about manipulation and manipulating certain circumstances or pushing our direction in a certain way to focus on certain things. But what happens if you think about a magician, if you go to a magical show? The magician is doing certain things, so your focus is on a certain thing. But what you don't see or what you don't notice is actually more in relation to what is truth, the things that are not visible, or the things that they're not pointing you towards. And when we think about when we have even disagreements with other people in our family, disagreements with people at our workplace, disagreements with people, all sorts of things, right? Often we take things as very personal because we are seeing those, our opinions, and if someone doesn't agree with us or someone does not have the same belief systems, we're viewing that different belief system through our lens. We're not willing to see things through their lens. And what does that do? That creates a lot of conflict and more communication problems. And, and examples of this when people make presumptions about a situation and they believe something about someone, why they do something, why they believe something. And that is just a belief. That is a story that they tell themselves. And it's just like the stories that we believe. We hear certain stories, we see certain evidence or certain things, and we see that. Unless we're presented by another side and we see and we're shown evidence that shows something else. But guess what? There can be another angle to something that we've not seen. Now, if you look at the sage archetype is more the wise archetype. But when you look at it even from a, there's different layers to archetypes, but I usually try and keep it simple in relation to branding and marketing. So there's kind of 12 we use in that. And there, when you work with people on more therapy and healing, there can be a slightly different angle. But just for simplicity, if you think about the wise sage might, study sacred scripts, study knowledge and wisdom, but they don't have an emotional attachment to what is truth. So they are, in many ways, trying to be objective. And if we think about a Zen master or someone that has, attained a certain level of enlightenment, they are almost detached from certain aspects so that they can rise above it. When we get to deep states of meditation where the mind is more clear and quiet and spacious, and we're coming from that deep, deep sense of peace, we are detaching ourselves from that human conditioning, from those human fears, from those human triggers. That is why the more that you can do things in your daily life that is going to put you in a state of calm and peace and even love and joy, right? If you think about children, the way that a child, children that are not addicted to iPads and computers, children that are allowed just to be free, they've not been given those addictions, they tend to have that sense of they just enjoy playing and being and doing things in a state of their own rhythm, their own flow. They're listening to what they feel gravitated towards. It's the world that tells them where they should be going towards, where they should be pointing towards, and what they should be focusing on and what they believe. And every culture is when we're conditioned to believe that that country's bad, that country's done this, that place has done that, and we don't look in our own back door. I belong to the UK, and even though I'm in Scotland, if you look at the British have been involved in some of the most heinous crimes, and I believe that they're still the backbone in relation to making money from arms, from war, from all sorts of dark things. I still believe that that's paramount, and their involvement in many other countries to keep them small and to try so that they keep powerful. And there'll be different layers to that story. There'll be good people that work in some of these areas, and there'll be people that only are working for power, or they're so conditioned and programmed by generations of what they've been influenced by, they see things as a certain way. The most powerful thing that we can do right now is to get into our heart and make time for peaceful things. Make time for the simple things that bring you joy. Meditate regularly. Even if you've only got time, little short bursts to do 5 or 10 minute meditations, do it. I will give you access to one of my it's called my less than 5 minute meditation. It's the most popular meditation technique that I ever taught. Now for nearly 25 years, because I started teaching that one, I think, just a couple of years into my business. But one of the things I would say is that, if you it is better to do things throughout the day, not just meditate once a day. What you've got to remember is throughout your day, you are distracted, you are put into the fight or flight response, even if it's a low level. You're put into that chronic stress response, chronic anxiety, stress every day. Think about the things that you see on Instagram, the things you see on Facebook, the things you see in news, the things you hear with the people around you telling you, right? And how many moments throughout your day do you feel a sense of anxiety? Or do you have a sense of rushing or having to do something, or having to do something for the approval of others, or having to bend yourself to someone else's rules, guidelines, and sense of control? That all can stimulate a high level of anxiety and stress in people. And when people try to control others, try to manipulate and push them towards a certain narrative, that moves people out their sovereignty, it moves them out the power, and it moves them out a state of serenity within themselves. The more that we can get into that place of serenity and calm, the more that we can do things in a day that brings us joy, even if it's small things. Have a laugh with a colleague, have a laugh with a friend or a family member, have a joke, do things that are light-hearted, childlike. And the more that you make time to really, the self-care. When I talk about self-care, I'm not saying that you don't do normal self-care, but I'm talking about self-care, listening to the self, making time with the self. And I'm not talking about this from a narcissistic perspective. I'm talking about this from a spiritual perspective. The problem is the world is very noisy, and it's got even crazier because they're fighting. What's happening in social media, what's happening in the world is everybody's fighting for their opinion to be truth. Everyone's fighting for their opinion to be valid. And if there's people with wounds that people never listen to them, or people don't believe them, or people think they're stupid, or they don't like a certain political party, they don't like a certain thing or a certain that, they will keep justifying the views. We all do it, we're all human. But the problem is we all can, and there's obviously a time and a space for openness and honest communication and truth on why people believe certain things and other things that maybe other people don't know about or see. But when we are in fear, anxiety, stress, or we're so strong in our opinions and we want to tell everyone that we're right and they're wrong, that is not in the heart. It's not being calm. And that's why it's so important that when you're getting into your meditations, you're working from the heart. That you're not just getting, you're doing your meditation, of course, to be in stillness and whatever, and peace. But then, what I often do is do a more traditional type-based meditation, and at the end, go into my heart, ask for guidance, ask my heart to open. And in situations that you feel very challenged or very opinionated or very strong, or, when you view someone a certain negative way, open your heart. Because when we open our heart, we bring light to ourselves and we bring light to the situation and we raise the vibration. Now, to support you at this time, David has kindly offered to do it's probably another couple of weeks of free sessions inside the Sunday Stillness, which runs every 2 weeks. And basically the Sunday Stillness is actually part of the Heart Hub. And the Heart Hub is basically a community, but also you've got access to lots of different meditation, spiritual courses that I've created and some other things that are there. And also you can ask for weekly remote healing. Each week there's a post because I'm in the community where you can ask for weekly remote healing, and also the Sunday Stillness. Now we're going to be doing some other things, but it was the communities have been a wee bit quiet because when it's come up with some problems, so we're just getting that going. But what we just feel that at the moment that people really need, people are feeling a lot of anxiety in that. So if we can support you, we're going to give you access to the Sunday Stillness. That gives you an idea of David's work and what we're trying to do in the Heart Hub. And the Soul Hub, just to make this clear, the Soul Hub, at any minute joins the Soul Hub, you get automatic access to the Heart Hub. And the Soul Hub is a co-creative space, a business growth space for soul-led business entrepreneurs. So basically what we do is, again, it has a community. You've got access to various courses depending on what level that you access the monthly or the yearly. But it also has like business growth sessions each month, which is like co-creation. It's like brainstorming. And then you can, share things in the group if you need extra help. I'm also considering, just as a kind of taster to bring in, is some I'm calling it power hour, or I don't know if that's the right name, where, if you've got things that you need to really do in your business, but you do everything to put them off and you get anxiety when you do it or you whatever, I'm going to be doing that where we go on for an hour and basically, I'll give you a wee bit of support at the beginning, get you into the right mindset, and if applicable, if everybody feels it's right, I can play some nice music that I've got that's PRS music, so I can use that, and in that hour, the supportive energy helps you get into the modes that you need to do to get that work done. And that's going to be part of the membership. So this is a great opportunity again to join before the price point goes up, before a change, because I might be changing the levels of offerings because there's likes of the business growth. I can't have too many people, and sometimes it depends on people can attend each month, but there's only a limited time you can get through certain people in those sessions. So there will be a wee bit of a change in that. I'll probably change in that in February. So this is an opportunity, even if you want to join the Soul Hub, to get in before the prices go up, get access to a lot of things that are going to help you with your business, your branding, your market, your course. And I'm all for, if you're in my membership and you have particular challenges, I will do my best to try and get some content or get the right help or point you in a direction where, to help you. Now, there is some things I've had to be asked in the past where people almost expect me to do their business. I can't do that for you, but I'll do what I can. But, no matter where you're at, if you have a business, if you don't, or, you're on a journey at the moment and you need to feel more calm, it's important to, as I said, keep it simple. Do the things that are going to calm your nervous system. And as I said, I've got a 5-minute meditation. I've also got some lovely relaxing meditations on YouTube. And I have also a plethora of those and things that you can actually download. So you don't have to worry if you don't have, there's nothing worse when you're on YouTube and the next thing adverts pop up. So there is lots of things you can download in the Heart Hub.